But if there is anyone who is new attending, I think that it's beneficial that we always go through Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim with this translation because it will benefit them, and it will also benefit us because, as the commentary I will explain later on, gives another aspect of this ayat and how there are so many aspects of Rahman and Rahim that can be taken out, that can be interpreted in the surahs, and I'll explain that later. So bear with me, and those who, if we do repeat it, it's always a blessing for us because we are remembering and we are starting this class. We are starting the learning with this blessed prayer. So B or B, sorry, B in English is with, and en français au, and Urdu में के साथ or साथ. Ism is in English is name, en français nom, and Urdu में naam. And Allah in all languages it stays the same as Allah. Ar-Rahman in English is gracious. En français le gracieux. Urdu में बेहद rahmat wala. And Rahim is merciful in English. En français le miséricordieux. Urdu में बार बार रहम करने वाला. Continuing on some of the explanation of this ayat, another an understanding of this ayat, Hazrat Muslim Maud anhu has given a fourth explanation as to why it has been placed in the beginning of every chapter and its significance. So that fourth significance is that the verse Bismillah placed before every chapter of the Quran also serves another important purpose. It is a key to the meaning of each individual chapter. This is so because all questions affecting moral and spiritual matters are related in one way or another with these fundamental divine attributes. Rahmaniyat, grace, and Rahimiyat, mercy. Thus, each chapter is, in fact, a detailed exposition of some aspect of the divine attributes mentioned in the verse. So, my brothers and sisters, it is very beautiful that in such a small ayat that we can get so much deep understanding that when we look at Rahmaniyat, that is the grace that Allah gives unaccounted for any action that we do, Allah gives us that. When we recognize the favors that we've been given, then we are motivated to get blessing, more blessing from God, which comes under His divine attribute of Rahmaniyat. And we are inspired by that, uh, the first Rahmaniyat, and then in the second aspect, we are inspired. We want to look for His Rahimiyat, that is His mercy, that is His grace through action. And these are what we learn in every chapter of the Holy Quran in some aspect or the other, that we can ourselves strive for getting these higher blessings from Allah Ta'ala. Then the second ayat is Wal Asr. The translation in English is by the fleeting time, and en français par les témoignages de temps. Zamane ki qasam. So it's a very short ayat, but as we'll see, it has a very wide application, and that's why if we just go through split word translation, and then I just tell you that Asr means time, and it will not benefit you, and you will not get the deeper sense. So we'll go a little bit more in depth, and we'll see how beautiful this very short surah is. Wa, as we all know, this is repetition throughout the Holy Quran. In English is and, en français par or a. Al-Asr is simply translated as time or temps. And this can also, as Hazrat Muslim Maud has explained, that Al-Asr talks about the age or the time of the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. उर्दू में अल-असर खास ज़माना नबी का ज़माना मुराद है. So Hazrat Mr. Maud has broken down this word al-asr, and he has said that it simply means the time. And he says that it is the infinitive noun from asr, and they say asra, that is, he aided, secured, or assisted him. He saved and preserved him. He gave a gift and did some favor to him. Asr means time or history or succession of ages or a period of time. And so here he's mentioning that there's a word dahr, which is a synonym and a similar word, which is a period of time. And this also is giving the sense in Asr as well, that it is a day as opposed to night, a night as opposed to day, the afternoon or evening. Al-Asran means the night and the day, the morning and the evening. So this not only speaks of a period, but various kinds of periods. Now, verse 3, Inna al-insana lafi khusr. Surely man is in a state of loss. Sûrement l'homme est perpétuellement dans un état de peur. यकीनन इंसान एक बड़े बड़े गाठे गाठे में है. So here the first word in Arabic is inna. This is we've covered many times as well. It's in English it's surely, en français sûrement, urdu में यकीनन. Insan or al-insan is the man or man. It can also be understood in that this is referring to the opponents of the Prophet. So it can be understood in this sense, that this reference here of insan, al-insan, is a particular man of the time who is an opponent to the Prophet. En français, l'homme, उर्दू में खास इंसान नबी का मुखालिफ मुराद है. And la is translated as is here, and en français est, and Urdu में है. Fi is in English, and dans en français, and Urdu में मैं. Khusr. So in English, this is the word that it's been translated as loss. The literal translation here is of loss. And en français, faire Urdu में बता. Hazrat Muslim Maud Ta'ala Anhu has said that khusr, khusr is a state of loss. And he said khasira means he suffered a loss, he lost his way, he was ruined. And in commenting on al-insan, or this ayat, he says that al-insan, or man, here signifies man as mentioned in chapter 17 verses 12, chapter 18 verses 55, and two other references from the Holy Quran, meaning that out of these references, that al-insan here has the significance of uh, being hasty, the contentious, the quarreling, and the impatient man. So it's this is a characteristic of that man, that who is an opponent, who is a disbeliever, who is against the truth, and these qualities come out of that insan, uh, which are being hasty, being very much involved in fighting, and is very impatient. And I just checked the one of the references here, which Hazrat Muslim Maud Anhu has given, which is the first one, chapter 17, verses 12, as a reference to this man, this al-insan. And in this ayat, he comments very briefly, and he says the words "and man is hasty" signify that if man were to pause and consider before embarking upon any venture, he would be spared many a fall. In fact, haste is at the root of most of man's failures. So you see that in this very simple, this simple ayat, in this simple surah, the the meaning that we get when we understand just the word insan, as it's placed here, that it is of a man who is about to be, in a state of loss, or is in a state of loss because of his hastiness. And that is very important, because this is psychologically something we have to understand, which underlies the reason why we get into loss or into failure, because um, we do not want to think and rationalize and pause for a moment before we do something. And unfortunately, because we are in that time, which is the exact time this surah is referring to as well, we are in that age and period where man is impatient, where everyone is impatient, and they're ready to get, or they want to have everything that they think of immediately, and this is cause of many problems that we are facing today in the world. Now the last ayat, إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. Translation is that except those who believe and do good works and exhort one another to accept truth and exhort one another to be steadfast. Excepté ceux qui croient et font de bons œuvres et qui s'exhortent les uns les autres à, à promou- promouvoir la vérité et qui s'exhortent les uns les autres à l'endurance. सिवाय सिवाय इन लोगों के जो ईमान लाए और नेक अमल बजा लाए और हक पर कायम रहते हुए एक दूसरे को हक की नसीहत की और सब्र पर कायम रहते हुए एक दूसरे को सब्र की नसीहत की. So here the first word is illa, which is in English is accept. En français, accepter. Urdu में सिवाय. Alladina, those who, is in English and translated en français, ceux qui. Urdu में वो लोग. Amanu, believe. Khwa, Urdu में ईमान लाए. And again, this comes up twice here, wa, at this in this breakup of the ayat here. Wa, as we all know, is and in English, and a en français or Urdu में. Amilu in English is do, and en français font, करते हैं Urdu में. Asalihat is in English is good works. En français, bons œuvres. Et Urdu में नेक amal. So in the second part of this ayat, the next word is here. It is a word actually repeated twice. Tawasaw. So you see tawa saw bil haqqi wa tawasaw bis sabr. So this is the same word repeated here twice. And the translation of this word is exhort one another in English. And en français, s'exhorte les uns les autres. Urdu में वो एक दूसरे को नसीहत करते हैं. And then we covered B, which is with. En français, à, or it could be translated in French as avec. Urdu में साथ, के साथ. And al-haq is the truth. En français, vérité, vérité. Urdu में haqq. And we already covered wa already, and we already covered the wa so. And the last word here is as-sabr. This in English is translated as steadfast, and en français l'endurance. Urdu में sabr, sabr के. The Muslim Maud has commented on the sabr, and he said that to be, which means to be steadfast, and it is the infinitive noun from sabara, which means he was or became patient or enduring. He endured trial or affliction with dignity, or he was contended in affliction or trial without complaining. He was steadfast and amid trials. He made no difference between a state of ease and comfort and a state of affliction, preserving calmness of mind in both states. So the very interesting commentary here of this ayat Hazrat Muslim gives. He says that it is history's infallible testimony to those individuals or nations who do not make full use of their God-given powers and faculties and of the opportunities that come to them in this life, and who defy the eternal natural laws which determine the destiny of man inevitably come to grief. It is such individuals and nations who are the losers in the race against time, and it is to these that the word al-insan in the surah refers. So here, he's giving also another understanding, a deeper understanding of insan are those people here, meaning the ones who lost everything because they rejected the haqq, that is the truth, and they rejected the natural laws that God has given, that all the blessings that God has given them. And he goes on to say, divine laws cannot be defied with impunity, that you cannot break the divine laws so boldly. And the Quran repeatedly draws pointed attention to the sad fate of those people who have the audacity to do so. In the words, have they not traveled in the earth and seen what was the end of those before them? When I was reviewing this commentary for and this presentation, and I came across this, I was most interested in this because you know the people of the West, the great nations of the West who have gone around and they have specifically even they have noted this verse from the Holy Quran because I have heard scholars and I have learned from the scholars who have said this that the Quran has mentioned because they have particularly in this time they have actually done this what the Quran has said, but they have not heeded or they have not followed it. Meaning they have gone through archaeological expeditions across the world, wherever they have gone, and they have tried to dig out and to find the lost civilizations, and they have left, particularly even a scholar who was giving reference to the archaeology of the past 100 years had referred to the Muslims of Egypt that why did they keep the the pyramids there? Why they didn't destroy or rip down? Because the pharaohs statues and these are still there. And he said that he referred to this verse and that look at that they're getting some benefit from that because their Quran says that look at that, and that's why they're keeping it because it's a sign for Muslims to understand where the nations in the past have been corrupted, where the nations in the past have gone astray. And I just want to show you because this understanding Quran should not be just a dry understanding. It should be with some depth, even if it's just the words. And we are actually here talking about al-insan, the word insan. We shouldn't forget that and understanding the meaning of the word insan in this surah al-Asr. Now, this picture here is Machu Picchu. I'm just giving you this as an illustration that the insan or the people that they had a very big civilization in the Inca people of South America, and I've personally gone there when I was a child, and I did the hike through the mountains, and it takes 4 days to get to this place. And I saw this place, and this is a remnant of that great Inca age, which was, if you can see here, in as in the orange here, the great Inca people that ruled, which were part of Peru, Ecuador, Bolivia, Chile, Argentina, crossing from the north to the south of the east of South America. It was a great, vast empire until it came crumbling down, and they had great advancements and they had great wealth. So much wealth that when the Spaniards came, they robbed them completely of all their you know their wealth, which was in the form uh, of gold. This is one of the fascinating things about their architecture, and people look at, and that's what Hazrat Muslim anhu was saying, that they look at thinking that they can get somewhere with their architecture, where even now we think about how people can't even understand how they were able to connect these stones where they can't even put paper in between. And that's how great they felt, but still the nation was not saved. And don't the another reference I can give, the reference nowadays to Pompeii for the Greco-Roman Empire that came to an end, or came to an end before, because of their illicit ways. Do they not see and they don't know? I'll finish with this. His commentary, he continues, as a Muslim out, says that the firm faith in eternal truths and the practical carrying out of them in our dealings in everyday life constitutes a sure guarantee for a happy, contented, prosperous, and progressive life. And this is the meaning of the word, such as have faith and do righteous deeds. Man cannot escape loss, which is the purpose or object of his life, without possessing true and real faith in divinely revealed truths and adjusting his conduct in harmony with them. Human reason without the assistance of revealed guidance cannot be a safe guide. It is divine guidance received through God's great messengers that can lead safely to the desired goal. But a person, however good and great, cannot bring about any real and permanent reformation single-handed unless the whole environment is changed, because man is strongly influenced by his environment. So I won't continue with more of this commentary, but simply that the those who have not decided to follow the prophet's time, or his age, and his message, which the message of Islam, as I mentioned to you before, the surah before this one was talking about also this period now where man will be in divine punishment because they reject the message which came from God through the prophet, which is essentially rejecting the God-given abilities and the God-given light and truth which God gave to the mind. So I'll end with that. Jazakumullah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.